Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Transformers comic review. This one's going to be for Transformers Windblade Issue 2. Obviously Windblade, of course, is the third book out right now in the IWG1 continuity. And yeah, there's the second issue of this mini-series that could become an ongoing if it sells well enough. I got cover A this time round. This is the Sarah Stone cover, of course. And yeah, I got this one just because I liked it. You know, Alex Milne, I actually think I like his attempt at Windblade for the subscription cover. But I just went with this one here because I just like the image a little bit better than that. But yeah, they're quite general images so far for Windblade in terms of the covers. I think next week has some pretty unique covers, so that should be fun. But either way, let's get into this book. Same creative team as last time around, Margaret Scott, Sarah Stone, and so on. But yeah, issue 2. You can definitely tell it's one of the middle issues of a kind of mini-series because it's just kind of just remains set up. There's a few little reveals and it's just building towards something, but it was still pretty good. Not as much to say about it, I don't think, as issue 1. And there are some negatives, you know, it's not perfect, but I think it's a good third book, and if they go on with it past issue 4, I definitely think there's still a lot of stuff to go with on Cybertron. Maybe not in a Windblade focused book necessarily, but have her be a character within other stuff. And I suppose that presents one of my not, I don't want to say issues, but kind of odd kind of moments while reading this book, and that was Ironhide is basically one of the main characters in this book. He's right there on the kind of character in the cast list, and he got set up in the first issue as having this huge thing where, you know, he saw the future, and now because of Dark Cybertron it was proven wrong and he's kind of lost his way. In this book he seems roughly back to normal. You can tell he's still not fully himself, but he just seems a little bit kind of normal, and they've almost dropped that as a plot point. I don't think they've completely dropped it, and I do think it is coming back at some point, but it was just a little bit annoying to see it kind of disappear kind of for this issue. No focus really go on that, but I do like that kind of Ironhide is the one kind of main bot that Chromia and Windblade have kind of really bonded with. They go to him first as their main guy, their friend, so I quite like that. But yeah, obviously the key plot point is that this is the aftermath of Windblade nearly being killed with the explosion, and she knows it was Starscream. Starscream basically knows that she knows, and what happens from there. And what you really get over this book is her kind of beginning to really kind of step up. In the first book, she was quite scared of Starscream, just to hear how kind of cruel he is, how he only focuses on himself. In this book, you kind of see a little bit of that growth, and that, okay, she learns a bit better how to handle the media and how to really fight Starscream at his own game, because he's obviously been manipulating the media, saying, you know, look at all these things going wrong with Metroplex, and then at the end, she's the one who goes to the media. So you really see that she is learning, and she's kind of really stepping up, especially with how the book ends, with the fight about to happen, and she's ready to fight even after only being nearly killed not that long ago. And even with Chromia, you do get more of a character as well. Yes, she's still the bodyguard, but you can really see how highly kind of Windblade thinks of her. They are kind of close friends, not just a kind of bodyguard city speaker relationship type thing. But yeah, as well as that, you know, Blur is kind of one of the other main characters in the book. Not doing a massive amount with him. You can tell Windblade, Chromia, and Starscream are basically the main characters in the book. But yeah, we get some more stuff about Metroplex, and I find it really interesting that, you know, they're going pretty in depth on he is a part of the plot, and it relates to Dark Cybertron. It's just pretty unique that there's basically the whole idea here is that Starscream is using part of Metroplex as a mine to mine one of the ores that Metroplex had. So it's explained here that he had a death ore inside him that was killing him, which is when Windblade, Chromia, and Nautica came into contact with them with Metroplex. They kind of slowed down the process of this ore as best they could, but he wasn't he wasn't basically past dying basically until he was infected with the life ore, or the whatever happened with when they gave him his thumb back in Dark Cybertron, and that kind of stopped it. But it kind of stopped it when he was only like half healed, so he's still in this kind of state where he's not 100%. But yeah, basically Starscream is going to mine one of these ores now that Shockwave is gone, and he wants to use it for some reason and has this mine, and that's part of his big plot that he's kind of is the reason he's keeping Metroplex down for. Like, he's set up a lot of this stuff because he apparently doesn't want Metroplex fully healed, at least until this mine thing is happening. And they find out about this because they hear Waspinator on the media circuit interviews him, and he says something unusual. They gotta find him, and in probably one of the best parts of the book, I think, in terms of like an emotional core to this, you get Waspinator really afraid. You know, he says everyone hurts Waspinator, and she kind of, while a lot of other bots would just kind of, you know, say, okay, I'll be the next one to hurt you, just tell me what I want and get the information that way, she decides that, you know, compassion is maybe the best way, that, you know, I'll ease his kind of fears and say, I'm not going to hurt you, I understand what you're going through, and get him to tell me that way by being nice to him and actually forming, you know, somewhat of a friendship as opposed to basically making him an enemy. And I like that the bit of continuity between this moment and then what she says about him in the bar scene, in that she says he's what was it, sweet but dim, was her like initial reaction to Waspinator. So I like that she didn't initially just see this kind of weirdo or anything like that. That was pretty interesting. And yeah, I suppose the big kind of question is that there's also, in Metroplex guarding this mine, apparently kind of bestial transformers. I assume speculation is like that they're Terrorcons or something like that, and basically it ends up with a big fight about to go down. Blur is involved, as are Circuit and so on. So there's a big fight about to go down in Metroplex, and I quite like that. You know, Chromia reveals that she has a shield as well, which is pretty cool, and definitely she is kind of getting just as much attention as Windblade, I think, and both of them are kind of working well as new characters, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, the big mystery is, of course, what is Starscream's plan to use an ore for? What's he planning to use that for? Other than the fact that he wants to use it and then eventually, you know, make everyone move out of Metroplex, and then obviously reform a proper city so he can be ruler of that. I'm not really sure. Maybe he's trying to kill Metroplex in some way, because that's kind of been the setup, that Starscream hates the fact that he lives inside an Autobot now, and obviously doesn't want that to happen. But the key thing here is, I think, you just have Windblade really stepping up. She's kind of grown past some of that initial kind of naivete, and I suppose just what's the best way to put it? Lack of experience, I suppose, is the best way to put it. She's really learning from Chromia and everyone else that she meets, and she's kind of really beginning to step into the role of, you know, making her a fitting kind of main character to this miniseries. Not as much to it, I don't think, as, you know, Robots in Disguise or More Than Meets the Eye so far, but I suppose we still have to see the next issue of Robots in Disguise next week. But, you know, art remains good. Sarah Stone does good work, and yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it was just revealed earlier on today that she's going to be doing subscription covers for Transformers Primacy, so that's pretty cool. She's getting to work on some other stuff as well that should make for some interesting covers coming out, and hopefully she gets more work hopefully, you know, Windblade continues and she gets to do the other issues of that, or just a Transformers Cybertron comic. But either way, going into next issue, Windblade number 3, second last issue. There's obviously only 4. This is one of those kind of cool covers I was talking about. A lot more unique than just the standard shots of Windblade we've had up to now. The description reads: The fate of Cybertron. Windblade learns more about the new face of the planet, and lesson number 1 is never underestimate Starscream. How far will the scheming Decepticon go to keep Windblade out of his way? Still a lot to be revealed, obviously. Like, okay, he wants to use the ore, but what's his full plan? What's he going to do with the ore? What's Ratbat's full involvement and all this other stuff? Like, I suppose one thing why does Starscream just hate Windblade in the first place, other than just the fact that she's somewhat of a sympathetic figure? But yep, that's Transformers Windblade issue number 2. Good book, remains pretty good. I think it probably will be a lot better if it does indeed become an ongoing, because right now it's a little bit hindered by the fact that it has to be, you know, only about Windblade. As I said, the whole thing about Ironhide. Like, I feel that if this was just Transformers Cybertron, the ongoing, and the first arc is just happens to be focused on Windblade, but also with some other stuff going on in the background, you could have that Ironhide plot as he's kind of coming to terms with the fact that his vision of the future wasn't what he thought it was, and stuff like that. This little plot with Waspinator that seems to be happening, and Blur, so on. But yeah, just kind of suffers, like, some of the spotlights kind of suffer from, where they're like, if you're not completely like 100% into the character that's focused on, some of the other stuff kind of is lacking. But thankfully Windblade and Chromia, new characters, are very well done here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to issue 3 and 4. So next review is going to be Robots in Disguise issue 29, which I think is out next week. Obviously, pretty much has to be last week in May. But yeah, thanks for watching this video, and bye.